Hi, Piero.
Hi, Skep.
Let me ask you a question. What about my stance is fucking unclear to you?
Do you think it's possible to be well informed and support, in some sense, Snowden and Manning? If you answer that question, then the idea would have been to discuss what support means and various other issues. Is it possible? And I would then get to know whether I'm pigeonholed as ahead of time not possibly well informed, or else wouldn't have that view. One commenter is the only person that's answered that, and that was his view. Yeah, you couldn't. You can't be well informed. Okay. So people act like it's a loaded question, and loaded with information that takes us to the next step of the discussion, because see, my impression is that you and I don't disagree on many facts. You know, any salient ones. I don't think that's why we're disagreeing. I'm curious for you to name a fact you think I don't have that would change my position. But I also think you need to take time to clarify my position. Right, because we don't all, Ella and me and Skid and Franks, and we all have different positions as well. I don't go into the echo chamber. That's why I'm talking to you. And the question came up, I'm watching whatever they were, Return of the Spooge, Bride of the Spooge, Re-Ethics and Law, and then after Ella, where I'm kind of going, oh good, maybe the conversation's going to get interesting. And then there was that chemtrail dude, and I'm like, oh, wait a second. My question is, or was, do you believe a well-informed person can support Snowden and Manning? For example, I believe Manning should have just got time served. Must I be uninformed to think that? Obviously the answer should be no, but some people will say, yeah, you must be uninformed. I'd like to know which it is. If I must be uninformed to want to go easy on Snowden and Manning, then I would like to know which information I'm missing, right? And like I say, the chemtrail guy, that kind of, what? We're all like chemtrail people? I'm starting to get an impression. So then I became curious to have you state, are you saying that we are like chemtrail dudes or not? All of us that support Manning and whatnot.
I've said that people should follow the procedures that are outlined for them. Why do you think that would be limited to individuals and not large groups of people?
Well, I don't think that. I think you do think it should apply to the organization. That was Ella's question. And my commentary on that is just that it's not a big deal to be asked to repeat yourself. Then you can say it multiple ways. And if you think about what Justicar was talking about, you do that to make sure people aren't playing these games where they're getting more information than they give. This is a mutual information getting situation the way I understand it.
Like government agencies. See, maybe it's not clicking for you because you're not paying attention and you've gotten into this whole Skep thinks the government's infallible bullshit straw man that several people have decided to just repeat, even though they fucking know better, including Ella.
Well, one of the things that's funny for me is, I don't expect you to have watched thousands of my videos. I don't keep up on every single thing. The video I saw where she was saying, hey, maybe you should just restate yourself. She said she didn't think you had that view. I don't think you have that view. That's not how the 2 + 2 adds up for me. I don't think you have that view. I do think there's a good reason to ask for restatement. This gives a baseline, right? And then people have committed officially to certain views. But to repeat, that isn't the most important question I have. I mentioned the most important question. Do you think it's possible to be well informed and support, in some sense, Snowden and Manning? If you answer that question, then the idea would have been to discuss what support means and various other issues. Is it possible? And I would then get to know whether I'm pigeonholed as ahead of time not possibly well informed, or else wouldn't have that view. I have. It relates directly to me and how I would proceed with the argument. All right? Because it's either this. Tell me what fact you think that should end up with me not supporting, going easy on Manning and Snowden. If you think we disagree in facts. And my proposition, quite honestly put, is that it's not that, it's the values. There's going to be a value judgment. Or we're going to find out that your values and the facts mean that you should support Manning and Snowden. That's not my goal. I don't care how you end up which side, except for that I like people to state what their territory is. What is their position? Right?
I mean, it's pretty straightforward and simple to me. If everyone followed the rules that have been outlined for them, we wouldn't even be having this conversation about the NSA spying on people. Because the NSA wouldn't be spying on people that they're not supposed to spy on.
I have to go play Minecraft with my stepson and his friend. But the thing is, real quick, and this is also a statement of some of my biases, so you'll know where I'm coming from, because I think that helps. You could also try to use them against me, but since they're real, I guess that's okay. My biases. Okay, but one, I think the government breaking the law, or procedure for that matter, is worse than when people do it, when citizens do it. Worse overall. Not in the individual case, the citizen still gets punished, but which am I more concerned with? So like I suggested an idea, for example, it's like, okay, how about you have to prosecute the crimes that are revealed in a dump like this, and until you have action on those, then Manning, for example, could use that during his defense to say, well, they didn't even go after those things. Okay, because that's sort of proof that going up the chain of command wasn't going to do any good. And also, Unseen Perfidy was saying, well, maybe that gives them a free pass. It shouldn't. The government they should be dumping all that stuff, and there shouldn't be so much illegal shit in there. Okay, so I'm biased in that direction. And also my other bias I want to state is I don't have much tolerance for secret information and secret methodologies. Okay, passwords, nuclear codes, yeah, but I work in software, and there is a well-known, academically rigorously understood separation of keeping passwords secret and security algorithms, which should not be secret.
And I mean, that's number one. Number two, you talk a lot about how people just don't know things. No shit.
Right, so my thinking on that is that, okay, that's something we agree on. Unseen Perfidy actually brought it up in his reply to me, I think, but I know he brought it up. I think he was the one that brought it up. Not that it matters, but I'm saying, yeah, his point, and I go, yeah, I agree, and to me, I thought I could use that to explain to you why I think the Thomas Drake outing of this program was a fail in terms of affecting the public dialogue, whereas the Snowden one has been effective. And I care about the difference, and you care about the difference, so I'm bringing it up to say, yeah, no shit, so what are you going to do about it? One thing is leaks seem to affect it.
That's not my fault. It's not an ethics problem. It's a fucking societal problem. People are stupid. I mean, let's take a look at some of the shit that's come out about the NSA's capabilities.
I'm not blaming you, but I'm saying that it would be nice if that could change. And I think there are certain things that affect an awareness. You were talking about you can't have well-informed values without the facts. And this seems to be how they get the facts. Right?
For example, the NSA can crack current crypto. Not really. Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew that the federal government would be able to break SSL.
Well, I didn't know that, and I was surprised at the implication. Obviously, they can use supercomputers and stuff to brute force, break one message or whatnot. I mean, even I think WikiLeaks had to do that to decode the collateral murder video. So yeah, but it would be surprising because I thought the math was pretty well established, and faster and faster computers reduce the amount of time it takes to brute force something, but you can just add the number of bits to the key and it shoots out into incredibly, because the one number of bits, it gets exponentially more and more, takes more and more time, or you could say more difficult. Though that's funny because brute force techniques are, it's not that they're difficult to do, it's they take a long time to execute. So it turns out, according to this guy, I had his name written down, but I'd have to look it up again. It was helping the Guardian go through the documents that haven't been released, that evidently the math is safe. What has happened is that they have an amazing kind of cooperation from people like Microsoft, and also they have influenced, basically they've tried to weaken our security standard. They have weakened it. So they have gotten some manufacturers in their software to deviate enough, by fiddling with their random number generators and making them not so good. They have a back door in the encryption. And this is just terrible. Okay, they're going to destroy the supremacy of American tech companies with bullshit like this. So they could spy on. Better to make encryption illegal. Better to make encryption illegal. Why don't they just do that? Because they're dishonest fucks. But anyway, so the end result is quite bizarre. It means that if you're using a service that is encrypting its stuff with one of these libraries, and they say since 2010 that there's been a flood of information, so it's like we're talking a library that's on Microsoft server or things like that, somewhere common, then those scramble bits go across. If they get that packet, which of course they can, everybody's always known you can grab that stuff when it's going along, and they can actually decode it, not the brute force way, but they have some bits of the key are distributed, sprinkled in there somewhere where you can just go get it and open it. That's a terrible thing. It's a terrible, terrible thing. It's going to undermine confidence in things like banks and paying your credit card online and stuff. And it reduces our security immensely. Okay? It's there's so much encrypted stuff out there now that it means that somebody with the secret key that knows the obscure little stupid security through obscurity thing, as soon as they find that, all that encrypted stuff is useless. It needs to be re-encrypted. It needs to be something. Okay, but the worst thing is that, okay, it's a backdoor. Yeah, I knew, we could tell from the Patriot Act and some of the things we've already, that we know this secret court exists, at least. Its actions are in secret. That there's backdoors like this, like into a software service. Like, and I can imagine that at Gmail, there might be a backdoor. I haven't heard any reports of this, just saying, for example, backdoor that I thought might exist, not necessarily at Google or Hotmail or whatever, and you can log in with this special backdoor account and you can browse other people's mail. Yeah, that's the service going, oh, that's what the law says right now. This is different. This isn't logging. This backdoor is into the encryption, so it's not really encrypted. It's easy to open. Encryption is mathematically studied and guaranteed to be hard to open. This stuff is not that. It's fake. It means your encryption in this country is fake if it's going through any of the people compromised by the NSA, which they say is the majority of everything now, including encrypted traffic. It's ridiculous.
I mean, SSL 512 was broken by a 14-year-old in Norway.
Okay, so I don't know what SSL. I don't know that story. Secure socket layer. Yeah, the previous way of talking about secure socket layer, 512-bit keys, and a Norwegian teenager. Okay. Anyway, no. Okay, there's three basic ways that you could compromise encrypted data. Okay. You could attack the algorithm, the math, the algorithm itself. Okay, that's pretty hard. That'd be shocking for that to be successful. It's been so rigorously studied. It's based on what is considered, it's based on complexity theory and what are hard problems that have to be brute force solved, and then you create one of those kinds of problems. Okay, the second thing is the software and the hardware. Let's just call that software, right? You somehow get a back door in there, like a virus goes in and makes a back door, or you get the people to make the software to just put a back door in there. You can get into the software somehow. There's a special private master key that can decode messages, something like that. Human intelligence. You just get people to give you their passwords. It doesn't matter very long after that. Okay, so of course they're getting access to the password databases. That's part of it. According to that dude that was the cryptography researcher that's whatever, not contracting, but expert with witnessing, acting as an expert consultant for the Guardian, the math is safe. They did not. Because when I heard that, that they had broken that to me, that is such solid math. That's like, okay, they built a quantum computer. Because the math is really solid. And supposedly, from the documents that the Guardian has that they wrote the story on, the math is safe. You seem to maybe be talking about the math not being safe with the Norwegian kid. I don't know. What has happened here is item 2 and 3. They've got backdoors into things like the encryption library in Microsoft Office stuff. The libraries that everything uses. Well, that would be technically true, but really, let's point out that the more important part is server. Like 40% of I was reading 40% of the SSL layer type stuff goes over Microsoft. So yeah. Okay, so I'll let you continue, but no.
Publicly. Sure, the government had it broken long before that. And a lot of these things, people are outraged and they don't really understand how they even work, like asymmetric encryption, which is just factoring large numbers in most applications. So people think that these things are, it's encrypted, it's safe. No, factually it's not. I mean, yeah, there's some compelling math to say that if you encode your credit card number with 1024-bit SSL stream, that it's going to be safe. No. There's several academic papers have come out and said quite to the contrary, that there are 9-round solutions for 1024.
What? Huh? Okay, I don't know what a 9-round solution is, or if you mean 9 round solutions, which I also wouldn't know what that means. Basically, exploits end up being software based. Did I mention that? I think I mentioned that already, or maybe it was in that direct. No, it was that way. Am I going this way or this way? How fuck if I know? What? You seem to be under the misimpression that this had to do with the mathematical aspect of this. Nope. Evidently, the documents that the Guardian is using to put this stuff out say that's not what's happened. What's happened is they've gotten Microsoft or Google, companies like that, and many were named, to put a special sauce, sprinkle a special sugar in their encryption so that there's always a universal passkey algorithm. They don't need the keys. It's not really encrypted. Ah, it's so dangerous. I think anybody that understands encryption even a little bit and the whole issues and how it works and the complexity theory behind it, the solvability of certain problems through computational techniques and all the mathematics. This is like if they are going to go put, we're going to find out that they've hidden nuclear bombs underneath every major American city, just in case as a last resort against the terrorists. Just in case as a last resort against the terrorists. So if the terrorists take over one of those cities, they can blow it up. That's what it's like. And as long as nobody tells, it's a great plan. Okay, maybe that's over the top. No, that's what it's like.
There's a lot of them that have said that there are insecurities in the algorithm. I think it was back in 2007 when they implemented the 1024 requirement for federal. There were already people at NIST who said it was, no, this is not secure enough. But it became the standard anyway.
Oh yeah, that's a part of this story too, that evidently the NSA influenced even NIST to use less than perfectly secure options in the protocol standards, things that they could do these other tricks on. Yep, they're anti-security. They want to spy on us more than they want us to be secure. It proves it. If you know what encryption's about, it proves it. The rest of the world doesn't know, like you said. They have no idea what's going on. What's it really work? Huh? They want us to be less secure so that they can spy on us.
So when it comes to the ethical argument, you're not even looking at the bigger picture. You're just interested in one or two people. You're interested in Manning and Snowden, but that whole government group, we're not going to look at that. We'll just assume that they're all unethical.
Seriously, what? Did you understand the part where I don't believe in heroes? They're from fairy tales. What? I'm interested in two people, not now. I don't demonize all of the government. You know, I would say I think that this is corruption. Corruption. Illegal policies on purpose. Corruption. It's corruption. What can I say? They're letting the infrastructure fall apart, and they're spending billions spying on us and doing secret plans and stuff that don't seem to be helping. What's not to get about that? I don't.
Rather than figure out what the fuck is actually going on. That way you can make that ethical judgment on your own.
I cannot help but notice that you segue back and forth people that don't know shit, that aren't me, into why I supposedly have given myself an excuse to not find out how things work. Are you saying I don't know how things work? Because let's talk about if I know how things work. You want to talk about an argument that's set to my advantage. So what do you want me to know? What do I have to prove to you that how it works, that I care about? This is why I'm asking you. You're showing signs that even though you won't say, no, I don't think it's possible for somebody well-informed to support Snowden, you keep saying, you're assuming, I am not well-informed. All right. You're lucky I have not done to you about your SSL bullshit what you do to Skid.
I think I got a recommendation for you. Might be a little bit tricky to find, but I'm sure you can find a clip of it somewhere on YouTube or Dailymotion or somewhere. There was a documentary that came out about Dick Cheney pretty recently, and the guy interviews him in it. Starts talking to Cheney about his ethics and some of the things like that. They go into Cheney's views on duty and honor and all of these other things. And immediately after that, he turns to him and he says, "Have you ever thought you were wrong?" Freezes solid. Cheney just doesn't say anything for a couple of seconds.
No, Skip, actually, I do not need a lecture about that from you. How to consider that you might be wrong. You have not asked me any question where I have a chance to even consider that, right? So I don't know what you think you're bringing up, but you don't seem like the sterling example of it. And as a matter of fact, I do care and know how to consider and reconsider that I may be wrong. That's why my handle is named after the original Western skeptic, who you're probably familiar with since you're a skeptic. And I know how to consider that something is theoretical and needs more facts, always more. Always more. You get to thresholds where you can make certain engineering decisions, but in principle, there's always more information. You can consider that you're wrong. And in fact, in the history of mankind, I like to consider the errors. When I was a young kid, I read a little pamphlet. I was like 6 or 7 or 8. Read a little pamphlet about momentum. It was cool because it said what people used to think it was. Why did things used to keep going when you throw them? And why did they stop? And why? And all the theories of that up to the current, well, not the current, but the Newtonian one. And that's how I think of all knowledge. So in my own mistakes, I remember, you want to go through them? Let's have an example of whether you or me can remember more of our mistakes and which are more believable as real mistakes that someone learned from. Okay, no, I don't need this lecture from you. You need to get over your weird hang-up. I am not the droid you're seeking, okay? I am not as uninformed as you seem to think. I'm not uninformed. That's not the reason that I think it's a problem that our encryption is being fundamentally mathematically undermined by our security. They have a defensive role, the NSA. They're supposed to set standards to help us make sure we keep our information encrypted and safe. And that includes from them because we have a right to that kind of privacy. They have a right to take it to a supercomputer. Everything's crackable in principle. But this kind of undermining, I don't need a lecture from you about admitting mistakes. Okay? Tell me this was a mistake, what the NSA did then. Can you admit a mistake for the NSA? Is this one of them, that are possible to make? I hope and believe from what you have said, you should, if you answer that at all, you would say, yes, it's a mistake. Okay, then I'm not uninformed to not think that's tolerable. What I want to tolerate is different from you. That's all.
And to me, that's not unique to Dick Cheney. That's something that all people do when they talk about their ethics and their values. They assume that they're right, and they don't change their mind until they're slammed in the face with the facts. And that's why you can't talk values and ethics when you don't fucking know what's going on. Or, to use your signal-to-noise ratio example, you create more noise by saying nonsensical shit out loud. And then it's carried by multiple media outlets, and suddenly some ridiculous fucking story is just accepted by the masses. Things like Manning read every document he released. Really? Do the math. Not possible. So, I know you guys really want to say that you have something important to talk about, but you don't, because the stances you take make you look like shit. You argue against yourselves because you don't have the information. I don't even have a totality of the information involved in this scenario. None of us do. But I have access to it, to all the stuff that's declassified and available for us to read, and you guys aren't doing it. So it's not on me to educate you. It's on you. And if you want to find out about my ethics and values, just fucking listen. It's really clear. You just gotta look for it. You're not above that, are you?
Yeah. I have listened, and I see you are saying it's all understandable. It's fine if they've made a universal key into something that we all thought was protected by the mathematics that it's supposed to be using, that the people advertise, that the security companies advertise to their. I don't want you to educate me. You don't need to educate me. I'm just as educated as you. I'll bet. And different things, maybe. What? When you're asked what you think, it's because you're taking part in this conversation. Yeah, it is pretty clear. It's pretty clear that you are an apologist for the government. That raises why? I think the procedure should be followed, and the government gets to make that procedure, and it's okay if they fuck up anything. Of course, they broke the encryption. They didn't break the encryption. They freaking put back doors. They got Microsoft and whomever these were named people according to the sources working for the Guardian on this story, named companies that have to be the big ones, right? Because it's all of this traffic. They got them to put spyware in all of our machines, in the very library that encodes information. And you think that's fine. I'm asking you what you think because it is clear and it looks so terrible. I thought I should give you a chance to speak for yourself. And the fact that you are going to insult me as entirely uninformed, 9-round solutions, good luck with that. Okay. On the other hand, really loved your video, and I'll talk to you later. Okay, okay. I don't want to leave it that way. I just thought, I should not. I figured I'm not gonna let you call me uninformed and just think I don't know how to put you down or anything like that. I do, but I think you're smart, as I've said. You're ignoring that because it doesn't go with that you want me to be a useful idiot. It is idiotic for you to assume that you're more informed than me for two reasons. One, that's an idiotic assumption. Even if you're smarter than the average bear, if you know statistics, it's just a matter of odds. And two, because it's me. And you are not more informed than me. And you are not more careful with logic, reason, facts. And if you'd rather discuss something where facts really do dominate, let's talk about physics. But this is political science. Science. And values play a role. If you want to put it down to facts, then fine. It's on you. You will not find that you were more rigorous or careful in a carefully logical argument. Try me. Seriously. So two reasons. One, it's asinine to not know. It's just you're going to eventually run into somebody, amazing as it sounds, that's as informed as you. And two, because it's me and I'm actually probably more informed than you. So with those two reasons, you should just come back down to earth. Say what you don't tell me that I have to watch all your videos or watch a back catalog to know what you think in the middle of a conversation where you could have just spent 6 minutes saying it. It's like you think you're going to get trapped. So maybe you know that what I'm saying is true, and that if you deal with this the regular way of, yes, here, I agree to that, I admit to that, like a real argument among real logicians, that you will get trapped, I guess. Okay, you were asked what you thought, even though it's clear from your videos, you were asked to give you a chance to explain yourself in response to the obvious. So, okay, you still have a chance. If you want to continue this course, good luck with it.